A beautiful afternoon to you and welcome to Africa Discourse. I am Wilson Marshall. Well, today is still about the coronavirus, but this time around it's taking a new dimension in the sense that despite coronavirus in some countries in Africa, they chose to give education priority by going back to school. Yes, in some African countries, okay? Not all. Want to take a look at the impact it is going to be having in the fight against coronavirus. All right, before I introduce my guest, I'd like to give you statistics of what Africa look like when you talk about coronavirus. Mind you, globally, it has climbed to 7.7 million infectious cases, yes, of coronavirus. That is globally. Now, for Africa, it is 189,559. That is for Africa. For number of deaths in Africa, some total 5,189. For the case of recoveries, 82,985. Now let's go from country to country. 3 countries or 4 that we're taking a look at today. For South Africa, 48,285 cases of coronavirus, and of course, 998 deaths. Yeah, for 24,364 recoveries. For Tanzania, we have 509 cases of coronavirus, 21 deaths, and 183 recovered. For Cameroon, 7,908 cases of coronavirus. We have 212 deaths, and we have 4,735 recovery cases. While for Nigeria, our country, we have 12,486 coronavirus cases, and we have 354 deaths and 3,959 recovered cases of patients. Well, and some African countries choose to say, look, we have to learn how to live with this. We have to open the economy. And of course, talking about the economy, we can't talk about it without talking about schools. Secondary school, tertiary institution, primary schools, they have reopened in some countries in Africa, South Africa, Tanzania, Cameroon, and it's been riddled by so many reactions. With me here in the studio to talk about this, I have a veteran journalist. We talk about #1 man scout in the South zone of Nigeria, one-time youth president, in defunct Bender State or Edo State or thereabouts. He's the politician, an active businessman, a politician. Join me to welcome Honorable Agarese Ijubo. I love this man so much. Honorable, welcome to Africa Discourse. I appreciate your coming.
Thank you very much. Well, quickly, I was national president.
Oh, national president. Thank you so much for that correction. And sitting very close to him is a medical practitioner. Yeah, I want to talk about political issues. He's well grounded. Also, join me to welcome Dr. Dominic Atibie. Doc, welcome to Africa Discourse.
Thank you, Wilson. Thank you for having me.
All right. Now, let's start off with the medical point of view. We've seen these countries coming up to say coronavirus or no coronavirus, despite the number of infectious cases or infected cases were going back to school, and they are doing so. As a medical practitioner, what do you feel about this?
Well, at this point, I want to say I have mixed feelings concerning returning back to school. Even though I'm one of the advocates, I believe that the economy should be reopened very strongly. I've said this sometime here and elsewhere, that the economy needs to reopen so that activities and every other thing will fall in place in straight line. But for Africa now, especially Tanzania, Cameroon, and South Africa to be reopening schools now, for me, it's still a no, because there are certain guidelines that should have been followed. You know, I should have monitored and watched how the rising is. You know, I like to say the step we're taking in Nigeria is actually a very nice one, an applaudable one, you know, where you are systematically, stylishly, strategically reopening the economy. We start from opening of worship centers like we've seen during the course of the weekend and like for a week or so. And the body languages of governors respective, not just Edo State here, but elsewhere, about reopening of stores and shopping mall and all that. That is the way forward. But now bringing schools, especially children, I've seen, okay, like a good example would be in Tanzania. You know, I like very well the president, respect to him, President John Magufuli. You have done very well. Magufuli is actually, he's a very technical person in the sense that, okay, for Magufuli, he feels that everything actually have a spiritual undertone. We saw him some weeks back going to the mountain, going to pray, and hoping to listen to God. And then if God gives him whatever, he opens the economy. Well, we want to assume, okay, maybe God have actually told him, go ahead, Mr. President, and reopen the economy. But before doing that, has he made measures, available measures in place? Yes, for the university, that is University of Dar es Salaam, the Vice Chancellor, some 4 or 5 days ago, spoke about how prepared they are. Now he said they have this systematic, this self-limiting hand dispenser and hand washing facilities. Okay, that's a kudos to plus, but is that enough alone on itself to open higher institution, to reopen? You know the way the university setting is, where it's a man, no man for himself. Everybody does whatever he chooses to do, and maintaining social distancing is very, very. In fact, if you look at what's happening in Tanzania now, very few persons use masks. This is also similar to what we're getting here in the country. For me, for now, I think it was just a little too fast.
Okay, just a little too fast.
Yes.
Honorable, you heard the medical practitioner. He said he has mixed feelings about this, despite the fact that in some schools, they are saying that they have sanitizers, they have a hand washing mechanism. You just name it. They encourage the students to put on face mask. You can see there in the video, they even encourage the students also to be screened. That's one of the parents talking about the reopening of school. What are your views on this?
Yeah, I share his views to some extent, to the extent that, yes, the president should have also, even though he believes that God is in charge, which he has always kept on saying, that, you know, even though the virus is here, but we believe that God is in control, which to me is also very spiritual to an extent. Tanzania doesn't have too much pressure from the coronavirus. If they think that they want to reopen, like they are doing, progressively reopening, it's not as if they have opened. I mean, some segments are still not going to school yet. From what we read about them, yes, those who have terminal exams start from there. Those who are going to write the first school leaving certificate, the GSS 3, according to the system now of education, which to me is just fine. My worry about the reopening of the schools now, you talked about social distancing. If you must open universities now, if we used to have 1 lecture theater, then you will need, for that same number of persons that used to use that lecture theater, you need about 4 theaters. Because if it was social distance, then it means, if it's 2 meters, it means that the same lecture theater that used to take a certain number will take 1/4. So if everybody must come to school, then you require 4 of such theaters. Then that takes us to the issue of infrastructure. Do we have the infrastructure to now say, okay, fine, everybody come to school and maintain the social distancing, which I think no government has prepared for. So it may not be too right to say, oh, now we're going to open the schools. But if it's progressive, that those who are going to write the preparatory examination, then they will be the only one in school that can use all the classes. Social distance, use all the classes, fine. If it's those writing the GSS 3 exam, they can also use the entire school. So it can, but if you say the whole school should resume, then there will be a serious challenge. In Tanzania, for instance, they brought the entire system.
Yes, to come back all at once.
The entire system, which to me is not right.
Of course.
The entire system cannot come. There's no way you can social distance with all of them coming to school. So these are the things that we must, because you must create an environment of safety for our children. We don't want where you go and bring everybody back to school and there is skin-to-skin relationship. It becomes a little bit difficult because children must hug, children must shake hands, they must do some things that may not be normal. So for me, Tanzania has done what they think, but they don't have a serious, I don't think they have a serious case of corona, but maybe Cameroon. Cameroon is the one that I fear a lot because they're also still having increasing number of coronavirus. So that is the one that I think may not be too right. You know, the judgment may not be too correct because if they're opening schools now and they still have increasing number, for about 3 weeks now, Tanzania has not had any, you know.
Yeah, all right. Now, I will come back to you, Honorable. Now, let's take a look at the statistics here. I took our time to write it down. For South Africa, we have 48,285 coronavirus cases, 998,000 number of deaths, while recovery 24,364. As against Cameroon, 7,908. coronavirus cases, and of course 212 deaths, 4,735 cases of recovery. And Tanzania, 509. That is the one they've recorded, and 21 cases of death, 183 recovery. Now, with these statistics, if you compare it to other climes, do you think they have the wherewithal to say, look, this is not really what you should be scared of? Let's go back to school, compared to other climes like the US, India, Brazil? Yeah. Yeah,
okay, well, yeah, given the statistics you just put now, please, now, you know, I want to believe there's some political undertone in that value, in that result. However, I'm not in Tanzania, neither am I in Cameroon as at this time. But given the feelers from what we hear from citizens in those countries, they are not so comfortable with it in the first place. Secondly, they have the opinion that, okay, in the first place, this coronavirus is not real. Of course, the ministers of health in the two countries have come out clearly to say coronavirus is real, and it's as real as they can see. But for that lower, what the factor was put in place here is giving Tanzania and their 500, you have to put it in cognizance with the population. What's the average population of the entire country? Just about 60 million. You cannot compare that. That is not same for for South Africa, neither is it same for Cameroon. Now, yes, given the statistics, one may say, okay, let's give a blind eye to it. Yes, like I did said earlier, actually one of the proponents of reopen the economy. Let us go there and get this thing all done. Like I've said earlier, I said that there are two pronged approaches to this. It's either we get the vaccination or we go out for the herd immunity. And for them now, they believe, I mean, what are we talking about? We have 500 cases. Okay, let's go out for the herd immunity. Go get infected. If they have very specialized or they have well-to-do healthcare facilities. Well, we know Africa, generally, we are neither here nor there when it comes to health. We are more of the political angle to collect money for whatever other political or other structures, but not health-wise. Now, that is supposed to be a dangerous one for them. Like he did said very clearly, I am of the opinion that if any economy, especially in terms of reopening of schools, should come, sometimes in August is just the best time.
All right. Sometimes in August is just the best time. Now, he talked about politics. Do you think that Africans are beginning to doubt the efficacy, or let's say the voracious nature of this virus on Africans? Hence, they choose to live their normal life. Despite the number, if you take a look at the number, 189,559, not up to some country in the world.
Yeah, you see, I'm not a doctor.
Yeah.
But I read in various publications that malaria has killed more people than corona. And if Tanzania is saying, okay, fine, although the WHO has faulted that figure, so it was not correct, but I mean, if you say it's not correct, it's your word against their word. They say this is our own figure. You say it's not correct, so which is the correct one? WHO did not go ahead and say this is the correct one. But if they truly have that figure, there's no cause for alarm, to my mind. Because that's a figure you can accommodate anytime, anywhere. That's like one state in Nigeria. So if they have just that, with only 21, fatalities, to me, they can go ahead to reopen the economy. Because, I mean, we are also aware how many other challenges we've had in this country. We've had HIV, for instance, killed more people than we are looking at now. But just that it wasn't a pandemic. One could qualify as an epidemic, you know.
Yeah.
Now is that the pandemic now is everywhere in the world.
Everywhere.
Some countries didn't have AIDS, but now every part of the world has corona. So for me, I think we need to do a gradual opening of the economy. If that is done, my brother just talked about August. I don't know how he's not, maybe he's a doctor, maybe they are.
Yeah, he's a medical doctor. He's a prediction.
Sorry, I said maybe as a doctor.
Yeah.
As a doctor, he has foreseen that by August, corona will have been over. but having said that, if corona is not over by August, it will still, to my mind, be difficult to open schools. Because unless we're not talking about social distancing, I have tried to look at this. You have to restructure chairs now, for instance. Where you used to have 4 children on one bench, it should not be either 1 or 2. So if it's 1 or 2, then you need more benches or more desks. And if that is the matter, then you need more space to put them. But do we have that in place now? And the way schools are now in Edo State, I don't know about other states now. Let's take Edo State, not even Tanzania, or in Edo State now, with markets everywhere, the schools minus corona, by the time the markets are no more there, they remove them back to their usual, places or all that.
Yeah.
It will take so much time to bring those schools back to their normal statuses. So for me, August is here. This is June.
June.
Okay.
This is June. To return those schools back to their original states, it will take so much time. Now talk about in Tanzania, they fumigate school every day. Now every day, they fumigate every day, or at worst 3 times a week. But they say they should do every day. Once students leave, fumigate every day. But for how long will they do now? So these are issues that we must keep talking about. The things that are supposed, and it's not cost effective. It's not cost effective. At the end of the day, you find every situation that we're going to face now. I don't know how we're going to go out of this, honestly, because social distancing is one that is taking so much space everywhere, even in churches. A church that will accommodate by 100 people, naturally, can accommodate maybe about 20 or 25 now. So if you want to bring all your members to a church, you need another building.
Yeah, kind of an extension.
Another building.
Okay.
Or extension. So these are issues that I think, but having said all of this, I share from those people who believe, I mean, you are a doctor, so I'm not, who believe that at times, people are commercializing this corona thing. Some persons are real, but some persons commercialize this thing because I hear they say the more you have, the higher the report you give, the more money you get from one source. So I know some people that have said, don't give me money, I don't have here. Don't give me money. But some will say, let's announce more. Somebody was saying to me, Doc, I mean, you are a doctor, I'm sorry. Somebody said, among themselves, they said, okay, how many do we issue today? Let's issue 10.
Anyway, we don't have proof of that. We don't have proof of that.
That's to the extent that people don't believe that. It is real. But I think it's real.
It's real. Okay. Now,
but the extent,
that's what you're not sure of. Now, if you take a look at the clip, it's like these schools that are reopened, they are following the rules and regulations put on the ground to fight against COVID-19. Take a look at the students there. Some of them are wearing masks and they're there washing their hands also and flowing water for at least 20 seconds. Just a clip of what they are doing. And some of the parents also you saw reacting to the opening of schools. Some are for it. Some ministers also addressing the country why they have to reopen the school. Look at the students, the teachers and all that doing what they know how to do, which is learning. Don't you think really they have all these things on the ground to really fight coronavirus for the country to move smoothly?
Yes, they do. Like we said.
Now look at those for being sanitized.
Yes,
spacing and all that.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
When you're starting a project, especially when it is novel, everybody give it its all. You give it your 100, but give it 1-2 weeks, it falls.
Relapse.
Still, I got from some of the journals. I read one of their Tanzanian Times that a student, actually this was an interview from a student, she went to school, discovered that the whole issues of the whole hygiene, self-hygiene, physical distancing and social distancing, wearing of face masks was actually flooded in the school because Nobody was putting on at that point in time. And because of the awareness that has been in the jingles all over the air, in the internet and all that, she decided to go back home and say, no, I can't stay here. I mean, if this is not what we teach, we cannot practice what they preach. So I won't stay. Now, that's what you see. Within the first 3, 4, 5 to 1 or maximum 2 weeks, you get those sanitizers, those soap and whatever. But who do the refilling? Is it cost effective? Can it be maintained? Is it sustained? No. Now, just like he said, we may need to have multiple classes. Actually, the idea behind President John Magufuli of Tanzania, initial idea of reopening the school was actually fantastic, because he said he was going to open higher institution only, first of all. And I think that's laudable, you know. You open these ones that you believe they are above, they are adults, they can reason technically to maintain social distancing. But as the 1st June dates drew closer, a lot of oppositions and a lot of suggestions came in. He decided to open everywhere. And that is the problem we have now. Like, just imagine a kid, a small child, maybe neonate, okay, not necessarily neonate. Let's call these children on the 5 that attend crèches. Now, their mistress or the master that take care of them already have been infected with the virus. Definitely you will hug these children. You will pet them, they will hug themselves, they will play and all that. The transmission goes. It's not nice. But if we had looked at it from the strategic plan initially he had in mind, reopen, let the university students come in, and like SARS said here, you know, if you had opened for those classes that are probably writing exams, those transitional classes, you know, and then you watch what is the disease, what is the figure like that, did it climb, is it lessened, are we able to sort it out and all that, then we will say fine. That's why I'm saying August, you know. If you look at August is like 2 months away. It's close, we're already in June, we have July. Within 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, we're able to check however trend this virus follows. Okay. And we're able to maintain them, and then we go further to what we actually need.
All right, now take a look at South Africa. Close to 50,000 cases of coronavirus. Still, they choose to reopen schools. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah,
because right now, on the chart, they are the highest number of infection cases in Africa.
And they also have the fastest recovery rate. Even though they have about 52% recovery rate.
Okay. Because according to report here, they have, let's say, 924,364 recovery rate. That is more than half of infected rate. So you're making a good point there.
52, I mean, I know. Yeah. 52% recovery rate. So they believe that they can sort out any infection. But again, South Africa, with due respect to South Africa, I mean, they are all, you know, they are all sort of kind of people there. A lot of foreigners. Because most of these things were imported. In Nigeria, for instance, it was imported here. In Tanzania too, it was imported. It was imported. South Africa too, even though they are also black and white, but they also imported many of the, or most of the cases there. But they think they have a cure for it. They think, because they quickly believe that their facilities are such that they can handle, you know, infection. But having said that, it is also not, to my mind, the best of judgment. It's not. Because if the number keeps increasing, yes, fine. Why must you contact and go and treat? Why not avoid it? They say prevention is better than cure. I mean, according to our doctors, prevention is better than cure. So why would you go and acquire it, then go and cure it?
To expose yourself.
Yes, why not prevent it? So they believe that, okay, fine, it doesn't matter. We are going to monitor. They have a way to check. They have introduced, if you watched, I watched a video last night. Now, if you go to school, in university in South Africa, it's like a rail station.
Yes.
You go through, and you know, it takes care of
the sorting out of.
Yes. So they think, you know, they can always sort out some of those things. But they are very advanced. I mean, they are not within our own reach here. South Africa, even though it's Africa, but it's not Africa. You know, they are quite way ahead of many African countries. But having said that, if they have gone ahead to open schools, they believe that they can curtail the spread. All we are after here is to avoid the spread.
Yeah.
That's why we are thinking that don't go to school, to avoid the spread. But they believe that it will not spread in school. It will not spread in school. So they think they have put in place a lot of checks to make sure it doesn't spread in school. Maybe it can spread in the homes, but in school, no.
Not in the school.
So that's what they think they have done. And I agree with them. But I watched a few of I spoke to a few of my friends after he called me.
Yeah.
And he said to me, we are in school, but there's no record of the spread in school. So that's why they're comfortable with their own system. Maybe if they start to have, like he said, if you start to observe, maybe after 1, 2, 3 weeks, and you now see that, there is this spread now, right, they might have to close the schools. But now they think that they have put in place a lot of checks. So if these checks are effective, then of course they can go ahead to...
All right. All right, now let's say we have 2 more minutes to call it a wrap on this discussion. You're going to give your last line on this. You say they believe and they have the equipment. Can't African countries upgrade their equipment to that of South Africa, if not even more? Take an example for Nigeria.
Yes.
A minute, please.
I actually think we can take that leaf from South Africa. We have seen this whole body screening that they use from their hostels, I mean from the school entrances. You know, we have seen the whole body screening machine until we get there. That's why I thought...
You mean we've not gotten there yet?
We aren't there because there's no university in Nigeria as at today that have a whole body screening machine where you enter and then it just sanitizes you, okay? Unless we get there, we shouldn't even think of real.
I mean, we cannot get it in this country.
We can, of course, but we have the money, we have the resources. We can get it. So we need to take a leaf from South Africa, and that can be done within the period of these 4 to 6 weeks that we have.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Artivier Dominic. And of course, Honorable Agarise Dubo, you have the last line on this discussion. What advice do you have for us?
I just pray that we should look at the thing properly so that we don't have this community spread. If we are going to go back to school, like you said, 6 weeks, yes, fine. We can now improve on our infrastructures. We must expand infrastructures. Either we quickly look for, do the kind of Jack-on-day schools. Just do them quickly so that we can. Because definitely, if we are going to maintain social distancing, we cannot use the same facilities that we have now. We must improve on them. We must build more. So if we can build in 6 weeks, build not the full thing, the kind of Jack-on-day schools, those days. I don't know if you ever saw that. Do it so that we can have
those cut and make kind of structure.
Social distancing thing. So that at the end of the day, there is no social distancing. If you want to maintain social distancing, you can't bring everybody to school.
Okay. Thank you so much, Honorable. I appreciate a wonderful analysis. A big thank you to both of you for being here with us to discuss this issue because it's burning in the heart of so many people. Wilson, others are opening. Why can't Nigeria follow suit? You've heard them. Not to worry, tomorrow you're going to hear from lecturers. I mean, university is done. They will come around to really share their own opinions on people. This time around, we're going to go global to compare African countries to other countries, rate of infection, rate of recovery, and why African schools, apart from these 3 countries mentioned, don't really want to go back to school. See you tomorrow.
No, I don't want to go back to school.
Bye for now.